instantiated two modules using our mailbox, and we have also seen how we are going to use this new keyword for sending the mailbox instances, and we have created our mailbox instance in the top module, and we are creating the instance of the mailbox in the top module, and we are passing it to both the modules so that both the module A and module B are pointing towards the mailbox, common mailbox instance which was created in the top, right? So these and all things which we have seen in our previous session. Any doubts or any queries in this? So shall we start this session? Yes. Okay. So let us start this session. Let me show you like what we have discussed previously. So this is what we have previously discussed. Like we have declared the two modules where we have created the instance of the mailbox in the top module, and C1 and C2 classes are being basically pointing towards a mailbox instance which is being created in the top module. And we are passing this mailbox instance to my C1 and C2 using the new method we are passing it. Okay, so this is what we have in detail discussed in our previous sessions, right? Now, let us start with the built-in functions we are going to use in this mailboxes for sending the data and for retrieving the data of this particular mailbox, right? So let's say if I want to put any data into the mailbox, I'm going to use something known as put. Okay, so if I want to put any data into the mailbox, I'm going to use the method which is known as put. Okay, and this method is going to put the data into the mailbox, and if I want to retrieve any data from the mailbox, I'm going to use something known as get. Mailbox.get. This will basically help me to get the data out of this mailbox. Now this two methods, put and get, these two methods, both put and get, these two are blocking methods. Okay, so these two are my blocking methods. Okay, and I have another type of methods which are non-blocking methods. Like you can have try underscore get. This is non-blocking method which I'm going to have. So this is a non-blocking method which I'm going to have, and I also have something known as peak, which is again blocking, and another method which is known as try underscore peak, which is non-blocking in nature. So if you see something with your try, then it is non-blocking, and this is others are blocking. Okay. So let us try to understand what do you mean by blocking, what do you mean by non-blocking, and what is this exact put and get and everything, right? Now let me share my screen again. 1 minute. Hope my screen is visible, right? Please let me know. Yeah. So let me create a simple code quickly so that we can able to understand what do you mean by put, what do you mean by get, what do you mean by try put, try get, peak. Okay, so let me declare this module, and inside this module, let's say we have one initial block and another initial block. I'm going to have initial begin and followed by end. So I have two initial blocks. So these two initial blocks will be running parallelly. Now, here I'm going to declare a mailbox. Let's say the mailbox name is MBX. Okay. Now, within let's say within another initial beginning block, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the instance of this mailbox. MBX is equal to new and followed by end. Okay. So I've created the instance of this mailbox. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the data into the mailbox from the first initial block. MBX dot put of, let's say, 5. Okay, and let's display something. Dollar display data sent into mailbox is what I'm going to send, and that's it. And let me declare one more variable over here. The global variable I'm going to declare, let's say enter received underscore data. Okay, so in the second initial block, what I'm going to do is mbx dot get of received underscore data. So whatever the data which my first initial block is going to generate, that I'm going to copy into this received underscore data and let me display it. So dollar display is percentage d comma received underscore data. Okay, and double quotes over here. Yeah, and followed by end. Okay, and followed by end module. Let me run this code quickly and let us check what is that we are going to get. Let me run this. So put, you can see we are going to put the data, and get, using the get we are going to get the data, and let us check what is that. Yeah, received underscore data is 5. So first initial block is sending the data, and second initial block is receiving that particular data, and we are going to get the data as 5. Okay. Now let's say there is one more. Let's say if I'm again trying to get the data, mbx dot get of received underscore data. If I'm trying to get the data again, and let me display it. So dollar display received underscore data, and received underscore data trying to receive for second time, and received underscore data is percentage d. Okay. And let me run it again. Let us see whether we are going to get the data for the second time or not. See, data sent into the mailbox, received underscore data is 5 only. We are not going to get the second display statement that trying to receive data for second time. This second display statement is not getting displayed. Why? Because when we are going to use this get method, the data which is present in the mailbox is being retrieved, and that's it. You cannot, if you are going to use this get method again, there is no data, right? So since this get method is not able to get any data, it is blocking, and it is not going to allow this display statement to execute. That's the reason this get method is known as blocking method. Is it clear, guys? Yes or no? So that's the reason get is a blocking method. Okay. Now let's say what is that another thing which we have? We have something known as try get. Try get is non-blocking. So if I'm going to use, let me comment to this and let me write down try get over here, and let's check it out. What is that we are going to get? So I'm going to use try underscore get. So try underscore get will basically try, like as the name itself suggests, try underscore get is only going to try it, and if there is no data, the if you are, it is not able to receive any data, it is not going to block. Okay, let us use another variable so that we can able to know whether we are actually receiving the data or not. Let me copy it, and let me create one more variable received underscore data to, and let me use it over here so that we will able to know whether we are actually getting the data or not. See, so received underscore data to try to receive for the second time, data is 0. So try underscore get, it is not going to block any further executions, and it is going, it's a non-blocking method. Okay. So if you're going to use, it is going to just going to try whether it, whether if it is able to get the data or not. If it is not going to get the data, no, not an issue. Okay. Now, this try underscore get is a non-blocking method as we have discussed over here. And one more point over here is try underscore get is going to return you two values. It's a function, right? So that's why it is going to return you two values. It is going to return 0 if there is no data available in the mailbox, nothing available in mailbox, and it is going to return 1 if it is able to successfully retrieve the data from the mailbox. Okay. So this is the difference between try get. Try get, it is going to return you two values. If it is equal to 0, nothing is available, and if it is equal to 1, successfully it is going to return. So that's the reason you can able to see this try underscore get being used in the functions also. Sorry, if loop. So how you can use it is if mbx dot try underscore get, then dollar display data present, else data is not present. Let me copy this dollar display statement and paste it over here. Data not present. So this try underscore get is going to check whether if it is able to default parameter values. Okay. Sorry. Here we need to give the received underscore data to as the argument over here. Yeah. Yeah. So what are we going to get over here? Data not present. You can also use it in if else loop. Okay. Since this function, if you are going to call it, you are going to get either 1 or you are going to either get 0. Okay. Yes. In our AHB to APB bridge design also, when we are verifying if someone is present from that workshop, you might have seen using this try underscore get. There I was using this try underscore get, right? Yeah. So any doubts or any queries in this? Let's move forward. Okay, great. Now I have one more method which is known as peak. Okay. So let us try to understand what do you mean by this peak method. Let me comment everything. This if else and all, or else let me copy this entire code. Yeah. Let me remove this if else I don't need this now. So if I'm going to use try underscore get, I was able to get right. Now what I am going to use is I'm going to use peak over here. Okay. And I'm again going to use try underscore get mbx dot try underscore get of received underscore data to. Okay. And let me run this. Let us see what is that we are going to get. Okay, let me comment the previous one and let me run this. What is that I'm going to get? I'm just using the peak method over here. You can see received data is 5. And second time, if you're going to check it out, you're going to have the received data is 5. So what is this peak method is basically doing over here is, let me show you. So you have some particular data which is present inside this mailbox, and if you want to put any data into this mailbox, you're going to use put so that the data is being sent into this mailbox and get and it may be try underscore get. Okay, so this get is a blocking method and try underscore get is a non-blocking method. What are these particular methods doing is they're actually removing the data from the mailbox. So get is removing, actually it is removing the data from the mailbox, and try underscore get is also removing the data from the mailbox. This is blocking and this is non-blocking. That's the difference. That's it. Both the methods are removing the data from your mailbox. Okay. But if you're going to use peak, peak is not removing the data from your mailbox. Okay. Peak is not removing the data from your mailbox, but peak is just copying the data from the mailbox. Okay. So this is the difference between your peak and get and try underscore get. Okay. Get and try underscore get are actually removing the data from your mailbox, but peak is not going to remove the data from the mailbox. It is just copying the data from the mailbox. The data which is present inside your mailbox is not going to be removed. Is it clear, guys? So let me show you one more example of this. Uh, Let me write down try underscore get here and get over here. Now, what do you think it is going to happen? If I'm going to use try underscore get first and get next. Now, whether what will be my received underscore data to? What is that I'm going to get? Yes, peak is a function. What is that I'm going to get over here? If I'm going to use try underscore get and get, what will be the value of my received underscore data to? Simple question. So the first initial block is sending the data as 5. Okay. So let me show you. So if we are going to use try underscore get, as I've told you, it is going to retrieve the data out of this particular mailbox. Okay. So there is no data which is present inside the mailbox. So what you're going to get, uh, data sent into the mailbox, and try underscore get is receiving the data. Totally it is removing the data from the mailbox. And next, if we are going to use get method, then what is happening? There is no data which is present in the mailbox, so that's why this method is not going to be implemented, so no display statement will be displayed. Okay, but if we are going to use peek over here, what is going to happen? Peek is not removing the data from the mailbox, but just it is copying the data from the mailbox. That's the reason the data is still present and your get method is getting implemented. Okay, you can see received underscore data is 5, and if you are trying to receive for the second time also, you're going to get the data. So this is the difference between your get, try get, and peek. Is it clear, guys? Yes. Okay. Yes. So that was about your mailbox and mailbox functions like get, try get, and peek. Okay. Now let us start with new one more new topic, which is semaphore. So mailbox was basically used for communication, intercommunication purpose, right? But here the semaphore is used for, let's say, suppose for synchronization. Okay. So what do you mean by synchronization is basically in our SV test bench we are going to see from Wednesday. So where we are going to have different components running parallelly. Okay. So for maintaining the synchronization between multiple components, let's say suppose this particular module is going to end its execution at 5 nanoseconds, but this module is going to take time for executing in 10 nanoseconds, and this is going to take time, let's say 7 nanoseconds. Now let's say if this module A is completing its execution at 5 nanoseconds, and it is going to end the process. So instead of end the process, for making sure that A is waiting for B and C, we are going to use some synchronization techniques. One of the particular synchronization technique here is semaphore. So semaphore, in the semaphore, we are going to have something known as bucket and keys. So you can think of a bucket and you can think of a key which is present inside this bucket. Okay. So let's say, first of all, the syntax for declaring a semaphore is simply semaphore and followed by the keyword. We can use any keyword over here. And for creating the number of keys, how many keys should be present inside this bucket? I'm going to use sem is equal to new of, let's say, 2. That means in this particular bucket there will be 2 keys. Okay. Now let's say if I want to get any keys from this bucket, what I'm going to use is sem dot get. And how many keys I need? One key. If I'm going to write down one, then I'm going to take one key. And if I want to put the key back into this bucket, I'm going to sem dot put of 1. Now how it is going to work, let us check it out. So let's check how it is going to work. And let me comment everything, and let me use a semaphore new module. So I'm going to take a module, and in this module I'm going to take a semaphore, and let's say the keyword here is, the variable here is sem, and again I'm going to take two blocks, initial begin and initial begin end. Okay, now in the first initial block what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the keys. Let's say I have only two keys. Okay. And let me take one more initial block. Okay. Now in the first initial block, what I'm going to do is dollar display. Let me write it down, trying to get, get the key. And I'm going to write down sem dot get of 1. Okay. Let's say we have only one key. Let's have with the one key. Okay. Now after, let's say 20 nanoseconds, what I'm going to do is sem dot put of 1. So this is what I'm going to do. So first I'm going to get the key, and next I'm going to put the key. Okay. So let me write down that another display statement like dollar display key has put into the bucket. Key submitted. This is what we have done. And in the second initial block, what I'm going to write down is dollar display trying to get the key. This is what I've done. But here, let's say 2 nanoseconds, I'm trying to get the key. After 2 nanoseconds, I'm trying to get the key. And after, let's say, some 22 nanoseconds, I'm going to put the key and dollar display key submitted. At let's display the time also percentage t comma dollar time, and here also let's display the time. So this is what I have done, and let's end the module and run the code. Let's check what is going to happen over here. uh, Here, okay, let me trying to get the key from first initial block, and this is my second initial block, and submitted the key first initial block, here second initial block. Let me run it one more time so that we can have the clarity of what is happening exactly. So trying to get the key from the first initial block. So that means first initial block has been running and we have successfully get the key. Next, trying to get the key from the second initial block. Okay, so both initial blocks are trying to get the key, but first initial block got the key. And you can see after 20 nanoseconds, we have put the key back. So you can see key submitted from by the first initial block at time t is equal to 20 because first initial block got the key compared to your second initial block. And after that, what is going to happen? After 22 nanoseconds, you're trying to put the key, but you haven't got the key right. So that's the reason you're not going to get this initial display statement over here. So key submitted at second initial block, this is not going to run. Okay. Is it clear, guys? What is happening over here? Please look into this and code and let me know. Yes. Okay. So that is how you're going to work with your semaphore. So who is going to have the key? Then the other one is going to wait for that particular key until and unless it is being submitted. Then only the other process is going to get the key and they are going to run. Okay. Yes. So that was about your semaphores and mailbox and built-in functions in the mailbox. And in our next session, we are going to start with something known as events. Okay. So those are also synchronization process which we are going to have events. And next after events, we have something known as threads like fork join, and any. Those are also very simple things. And tomorrow we will complete all the basics which are related and virtual interface. It's a simple concept which we have. So we are going to complete all the basics related for developing your test bench. And from Wednesday, we are going to start with the decoder based RAM verification. Okay, that we are going to start from the Wednesday. Okay, yes. So that's about this particular session. Thank you. If you have any doubts or any other queries,